Welcome to the Pennsylvania Counsel podcast.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to an all-new episode of the Pennsylvania Counsel podcast with attorney James Creenan, who's the founder of Creenan and Baskowski Law Firm. I am your host, Mike Leon. James represents business owners, professionals, and contractors all across Western Pennsylvania in matters ranging from everything from contracts to construction disputes to succession and estate planning. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about why small business owners treat the law as preventative maintenance instead of damage control, and how staying ahead of those problems can protect what they've worked so hard to build. Jim, it's good to see you as always. A lot of your work, and we've talked about this in previous episodes, it really focuses on helping clients prevent problems before they start up. So what does that look like in the day-to-day business practice?
Hey, Mike, thanks for having me today. It's good to be back. We work with business owners every day, and it's tougher than ever to own a business. But many successful business owners will take our advice and will engage in a semi-annual legal audit. And that audit is designed to identify any changes in the management or the ownership, a need for updated contracts or new compliance issues. And that full process can really help catch issues before they escalate. Before there's a problem that happens, we want to make sure that we give the client the tools they need to document, whether it be a new policy or a new term in an agreement, so that those can be in place before a problem arises. We know that studies show that a lot of businesses conducting regular legal reviews would reduce their risk of litigation by at least 30% compared to those who sort of wait for those emergencies to arise. So prevention is definitely worth the effort it takes to talk to the lawyer a little more regularly. And then the businesses that we have that maintain our ongoing relationships, rather than only calling at a crisis time, they benefit from that constant oversight where we have a faster response time. They have better compliance, and they have a proactive approach to addressing things that could go awry in their business. That approach is valuable in fast-moving industries like construction, real estate, and manufacturing.
So, Jim, you mentioned the issues. Let's dive into them. What kinds of legal issues tend to get ignored until they suddenly become expensive problems for the business owners?
I think a big issue right now is people have contracts that have potential automatic renewals, contracts with software vendors that might be a 3 or 5 year commitment, and those might auto renew. So with an ongoing relationship, we would document when we would need to give notice of non-renewal or notice of termination. And during that course of time, we would have the opportunity to meet with the client regularly to discuss whether they're satisfied with that particular vendor and whether there's a chance they might move on. If there is, then we want to make sure that we give the client the opportunity to renegotiate those deals. Similarly, we have in leases, a lot of people are obligated to give notice of non-renewal or notice of renewal, depending upon their relationship with the landlord. So when that time comes, we don't want the client to be surprised that they've missed that opportunity to extend favorable terms, or that they've missed the opportunity to find a better location. And that's part of the planning process we try to engage with our clients.
Jim, besides renewals and auto renewals, like what other warning signs within a contract or a partnership do you feel like might need attention before it could cause a dispute?
A good question for that. Obviously, we have a lot of business owners that are happy with how things go, but when there's a change in the profit margin or the take-home pay, that entrepreneur, that business owner is going to start to wonder why. When we have different, for example, professional service organizations, lawyers and architects and others who bill for their time and bill for their projects, they might be exceptional at what they do, but they might not do well at the day-to-day business management, which would include keeping track of time and client invoicing. Client payment and client AR issues can affect the bottom line. And so we've seen it. And, in the old days when I was with a larger law firm, we'd see it all the time that not all the partners kept track of their time as they should. So we definitely want to make sure that we have a company's billing and collection policies up to date so that the entire team can follow that. And we want to also make sure that people are following and enforcing that so you don't run into a major problem. You can find if there's a situation that requires a little extra attention, and you're not going to have the problem that would require dispute resolution because the amount at issue has gotten so large.
Jim, let me ask you, because you mentioned a second ago about regular check-ins with counsel could really help the business owner spot like risk early on. So what does that look like in practice?
In practice, it's going to be a regular, I wouldn't call it omnipresent, but it's going to be a regular presence with the client. I have a client now that would like me to be in their facility twice a week. I have other clients that are satisfied to talk to us once a quarter or once a month. In those instances, we have a meeting with the executive team or at least the key managers that are directing the activity that the client finds most favorable. That could mean an HR director, could also mean the director of facilities, and it also really could mean their COO and CFO. In talking to that team, we get to the point where we have the opportunity to spend our time focusing on solutions, but also helping the bottom line. That's one thing that I think clients don't always consider. But if I could, Mike, we have, look back to J.P. Morgan, who said, I don't pay lawyers to tell me what I can't do, but I do pay them to tell me what I want to do.
Well, let me ask you, Jim, documents, systems, are there particular documents or systems you've seen over time that you recommend clients, they should review it every year so that way they're making sure that things are current and compliant?
Absolutely. A vendor contract is one, a customer contract is the other. Employee handbooks are a third thing that we would anticipate would need improvement as time goes on. Not from year to year necessarily, but from those changes that can occur in a more glacial pace over time. So we have the opportunity to improve, the opportunity to identify potential problems. We talk to the client about situations they've been in to determine if there's some way that could have been handled better in the past. That combination, plus with we have a summary worksheet that the client can use on an annual basis to let us know what's new and what's different. We take what's new and different to make sure we keep their compliance up to date. We keep their records in a manner that is battle ready, if you will, so that if there is a problem, we're ready to solve that problem for them, and we know what the outcome could be.
Jim, the opposite of the glacial pace is the construction and real estate industry, right? Because those deals move so quickly. So with respect to that industry, how do you help clients stay kind of proactive without slowing down the job?
Yeah, those are super important because in construction, we see contractors, they have the opportunity to bid and they have to make decisions quickly, whether they're going to bid and whether they're going to accept terms that have been provided. And we also need to make sure that we have an opportunity to improve those terms. Where we have these ongoing relationships, Mike, we can then tell the client what their risk tolerance would be. Are they willing to accept a certain length of time for payment? Are they willing to take on additional manpower risk, things of that nature, escalation of prices? We want to look at all of those things and understand what the client's risk tolerance is so that when they send something to us, we have a head start. We're ready to look at that. Our commercial clients basically have the same idea. We're representing a lot of landlords, and we're looking at improving landlord-sided deal terms. When they send over a letter of intent or proposed terms, we should already know what they're thinking at that point. We should know what their client would be willing to accept. We have a good discussion, and then we either make an appropriate red line, have a meeting or a call with the other side, and we try and get the deal done.
Jim, let me ask you, because you've been doing this for so long, and I'm sure there are owners out there that they wait to call someone like you, an attorney, if there's like a contract dispute or some type of payment issue like we discussed. What do they miss out from your legal lens by not having ongoing legal guidance in place?
Well, Mike, it's a lot like going to the emergency room, right? Clients know they need to have a problem. They're not quite sure how to fix it, and they want it taken care of right away. They don't want to be in pain. We look and we prefer to have our clients consider the law office be a lot closer to a fitness center that can help them get in shape and prevent those problems. When we look at the client's biggest need, we want to look at, is their biggest problem right now turnover with employees? And then we try and find solutions that might be suitable in their industry for that business. Waiting until there's a problem is going to mean that we don't have something in place in advance that we can call upon to solve the problem. We can certainly solve problems after they manifest, but that is sort of like trying to cure a disease that could have been prevented in the first place.
Yeah, it's a great analogy on the medical front. So in that vein, can you kind of share an example without obviously giving client details, but where a small preventative step saved that client from maybe a much bigger problem later on?
Yeah, we look at operating agreements with a typical limited liability company. That's a routine practice for many business lawyers. An operating agreement would bind the owners and the company to a preset arrangement as to how the company will operate. But one of the things we always build in is the opportunity for one of the owners to exit, and to exit peacefully and smoothly with a predetermined range of options, whether that be with the return of capital without affecting the profit margin of the company, and also identifying what future profits might be owed to that person. The departing member can really impact things, and if they haven't pulled their weight, then they may not get the benefit that is otherwise indicated. And that's what the operating agreement is intended to do, is to control what those risks would be to those business owners.
Jim, as we wrap on today's episode, for that business owner right now that's listening to this, maybe they want to get a little bit more proactive after hearing you. What's the simplest place to start that you would recommend so they can get their legal house in order?
Right now, we're scheduling clients for the first quarter, their annual legal audit. It's a simple 3-step process. We review our audit checklist together. Then we discuss any shortcomings and identify and prioritize any implementation of corrective actions or solutions, and put a timetable on that. So that 3-step process allows us to tell the client that things will be okay in the near future, and we have a plan to address those problems.
Jim, thanks for the time and breaking all this down. I truly appreciate it, my friend.
Thanks for having me again, Mike. Good to see you.
And that's it for today's episode of the Pennsylvania Counsel Podcast. If you want to learn more about James and the team over at Creenan and Baskowski, do me a favor, visit cbattorneys.com today. Thank you again for listening, but don't forget, like, subscribe, leave a review and comment, share the episode with someone who needs to hear it. I'm Mike Leon. We will see everybody next time.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.